Anioko.
What's up? What's up, Tariq? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Um, so I listen to you quite a bit. Um, and as most people would admit, some of the stuff you say is educational.
What's
The
not educational? You say some. What's not educational? What I say.
Some of it is bullshit. You know that it's
The,
propaganda.
what is? What is? I didn't hear it. What's bullshit?
Some of it is bullshit and
Oh, like
propaganda.
what? Like what?
So,
Like what?
so for example, the idea that you are not African. I mean, it's patently absurd.
Okay,
The
now listen. Oh, let's stop there. Wait, let's stop there. Now
Yeah,
I have African DNA, but am
that
I?
makes you that the amount of African DNA you have is so huge that you cannot be anything but African.
So, what country is giving me African citizenship where I can go and live?
Well, if you applied, I'm pretty sure there'll be plenty of African nations that would
Why I
take you.
got to do
Just
all that? If I'm African,
Ukrainians and Irish people didn't walk into America and got citizenship just like that, even though they are white.
because America is not their homeland.
It is not their homeland. The point I'm making is, let's say Joe Biden wanted to come to Europe. I'm pretty sure there'll be several European countries that will happily take him in simply because he's an Irishman. And Ireland would be one of those places. You are a black man. And if these racists, expelled you from America in the event of a genocide, there's only one place where you would go, where you would even have a right to go: Africa. That is why, you know, people migrating to Africa. No, Africans are making too much of an issue of it. And you have people in Liberia that left, places where they were being abused and sold, and Africans made no issue of it.
Now let's slow down. Let's slow that down.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, you said if there was a genocide over here, we would run to Africa. How come a lot of the revolutionaries,
You're already running to Africa. How many
when
of
when a lot of
foundation
the
of Black
revolution,
Americans are moving to Africa?
no,
Lots.
some over there, some go over there to try to make some money, and a lot of them are getting finesse.
That
But
people
a lot
move
of
for
the
one of two reasons: safety
revolutionaries,
and money.
but a lot of the revolutionaries, when they would leave the U.S., like the Black Panthers, people like that, they really wouldn't go to Africa like that. Many of them would go to Asia. They would go to
Most of
the
those
Cuba,
niggas,
Central America.
most of those niggas didn't even know Africans existed until they saw us running in Germany
Oh
under
no,
Hitler's
no,
rule.
no, 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 dude,
They
no.
kept you guys ignorant. You didn't know you had people. You didn't even know
What
you were people.
what are you talking about?
And those are the words of.
Oh, hold on. What are you talking about? Slow down, man. What are
Yeah,
you talking about?
can I make the point?
Hold on now. What? What? Look, I got to hear this. Now let's flesh it out. Now we didn't know what. Now come on. Now you got to make it
Can
make
I make
sense.
the point? Can I make the point with you?
Don't just be saying some bullshit, which you know is bullshit. Now what?
Allow me to demonstrate the point. I
We
mean,
didn't know we were a people. What are you talking about?
I want to walk with you in the sun, like in the light. Allow me to hold your hand. Right?
But your hand is ashy, and it's not telling the truth. Your hand needs some lotion on that hand
Oh,
because
come on, Terry.
it's full of ashy lies. All right, but go ahead.
I may be ashy, but I'm a gentleman with facts, and I'm a strong man. I can hunt, and I can give you buffalo, and ugali and some beautiful pap. So
Yes, indeed.
allow me to walk with you by the Zambezi, holding your hand. Here's
Next,
what I'm saying.
go ahead.
Yeah. What I'm saying is actually the admission of the likes of, is it Alex Baldwin, that guy that rent off the funds from American white supremacists. He does say of his own admission.
You mean James Baldwin, right? James Baldwin.
James Baldwin, yeah, sorry, Alex Baldwin is an actor.
Right, 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 right.
I get confused by this bullshit. So
Mhm.
he says, and it was during that argument at Oxford in is it in Chicago, between him and that guy that came from a white supremacist family. I think it was a report of some sort. I've forgotten his name. And
Right,
he says, um, he grew up. Whenever he would look into the mirror, he would see. He had never seen himself in the mirror because as a child he assumed he was just like everybody else. Then one time and I'm summarizing here. Um, and for a long time, at some point, they were made to believe that black people, their history is all about slavery. It was all about the fact that we're mistreated by white people, sold and denigrated, and all of that. And for the first time through television, they noticed other black people running in Germany and fucking white people up because white people were claiming they were better than black people. For the first time, there were niggers running faster than them, that were stronger than them, and fucking Hitler and his people and his ideology up. And then black people realized that there were people like them in Africa who had the dignity and the capacity to compete and to do all of these things that they were made to believe black people could not do. What I am saying is that for the first time, black
Dude,
people, it was why Malcolm X was coming to Africa. Why do you think he was
dude,
coming to Africa?
dude,
Yeah.
man. In Germany, we had a foundational Black American, Jesse Owens, over there running circles around everybody. That was us. What are
Yeah,
you
but
talking about?
I am not, what I'm saying is you had black people competing, right? And
But
and
the
and
the
it
the
is
face
also,
of
it is
those
also
but the face of the Olympics was a foundational Black American, which was Jesse Owens. He became the face
I,
of that Olympic.
I'm not even disputing that. You're right. Your people have always had resources, more resources than we do. The
Right. So
point
we
I'm
always
making,
know we were great. It was
the
so
the point.
also no, let me back it up. Even before the Jesse Owens,
You're not beating the Kenyans right now, and
e-
they're tethers and poor, right?
right,
Like
right.
those
But
niggas
even
are
before,
beating you
but
left.
yes, let's slow down. Let's slow down. Let's slow down. Even before Jesse Owens, we had Jack Johnson beating the brakes off these white supremacists over here. We've always had black excellence and black greatness now. We didn't get it from the Africans. No disrespect. Come on. Who? Who are we getting it from in Africa at that time?
You're definitely not getting it from the white people.
Yeah,
I can tell you
we
that.
weren't getting it from
Not
Africa
from
when
the Indians, because
that was in the height of imperialism when they were being colonized.
yeah,
That
but
was the
no,
height of colonization over there. The African
the,
people weren't really busting on nothing. So what
the
are you talking
agility of the black American, right? And the speed of a black American is the spirit of Africa. There are no people on the planet
about?
that run like that do sport like that. If we take the black out of you, most
That
of
was
you
the
would have no
that was
jobs.
that was the spirit of Mojara from the foundation of Black Americans. No one is the spirit of Africa. That was the
Oh,
foundation.
come on. Tariq, do not insult your ancestors. They will fuck you
Dude,
up, right? They will fuck
that
you
was
up.
the
Do not
FBA
insult your
spirit.
ancestors.
That was the spirit of FBA. Jesse Owens was the spirit of FBA,
The
man.
first foundation of Black American was an African, is the point I'm making. You have to go back to the first Negro. The second point I'm making, part of the reason people like Malcolm X and others traveled to Africa was to create an identity that Africans in America or foundation of Black Americans were a people with the history and the culture, and not simply having the whole existence rooted in racism, rooted in Jim Crow
But
laws, whatever the case may be,
but
and all the rest of
but
it.
we recognize that us as foundational Black Americans, our history is more deeply rooted than almost every other person. We have a deeply rooted cultural historical continuity that other people don't have. We can trace our lineage directly going back to the 17 and 1600s, many of us, at least until the early 1800s. But again, many of us can go all the way to the 1600s with tracing our lineage and our culture in the same land. We have a deeply rooted and embedded culture that other groups don't have, especially in Africa, because y'all been colonized so many times over by different groups having your history and culture erased and remixed. So the people who don't really know about their culture, my good brother, is unfortunately you and the brethren over there, right?
Tariq, you're a well-traveled man, and you certainly do have resources. You surprise me when I hear you chatting shit, right? When Europeans ruled Africa, they did not remove black people out of their homesteads. In fact, they confined them in their homesteads. The only place where they messed up with people a lot is South Africa, but even there, they still remained in their homesteads. The point I am making is that there is no African that does not know where his people are from, where his village is, what his native language is, and where his grandfathers and their fathers and their fathers and their fathers are or buried.
Cap, cap, cap. I gotta mute you because that's cap.
Which African? Give me an example.
Most of y'all don't know your history like that. Y'all just got last names in the 1800s. Y'all don't have a long history of last names. Many of these tribes that's over there, they've been remixed, thrown together. Many of the languages over there are amalgamations of Arabic, Portuguese, and other languages of colonizers. Y'all been remixed to oblivion over there. There is no long continuity that these people have over there. That's the long and short of it. Many of these tribes are relatively new. The names might have a few centuries of miles on them, but the white supremacists came and carved out different lanes over there and threw different groups together, and they created certain tribal groups that were not ancient over there, sir. Yeah, we got to be real with that. A lot of people over there don't know the ancient history of those lands over there. They just
I,
don't.
I'm from Africa. Can I give you an education about Africa? Because I definitely know my people better than you do.
And what part of Africa are you from again? You said it
Well,
before, but
Southern Africa, right?
what part
And
of Southern Africa, sir? There's a lot.
Zambia in particular. Zambia in particular. Yeah,
Zambia.
yeah.
Okay.
So let me give you some perspective.
Mhm.
White people in Southern Africa have not been there for very long, right? We know when they came in, and we know when we kicked their ass out, right? We have kingdoms. Like, for example, I'll give an example. We had the Mwatiamvu kingdom that extended from Zambia, northern Zambia, all the way to the plateaus of Cameroon. You know what white people simply did? They just came and divided that into three nations or four nations. So in
Mhm.
that's all. That's what they would do. So in Zambia, they introduced English. In
It was Northern
Congo,
Rhodesia.
French.
One part was Northern Rhodesia.
Oh, that's a later thing. Is when the British came in and did some other juju, because the issue is that they would come and put a border. They did not remove the people. They put a border saying this is Congo for more exploitation. This is Congo. This is Zambia. This is Cameroon. Just like in Cameroon, one part of Cameroon they speak English, the other one they speak French, and yet
Right.
it's the same country,
But
right?
no, because what happens is one tribe that was, let's say, the Zingo tribe. I just make up a name.
Yeah,
So you have a Zingo tribe. They get split up because now the white supremacists came in and carved some borders. So part of the Zingo tribe is going to start speaking Portuguese, and the other part of the Zingo tribe is going to
it,
start speaking French. So now they're a different group now. They're not the
No,
same
no,
group
no,
anymore.
no, not really. It's the same thing that the Americans thought they were doing to Afghanistan. They thought that those tribes on the borders of Afghanistan have forgotten that the guys on the other side are their relatives, and they found out different. We have not forgotten. The Luba Lundas of Zambia and the Lundas of Congo and so on are the same people. Congolese are crossing into Zambia to this day and settling in Zambia, and nobody's blinking an eye. Their kings remain the same, the languages remain the same. But white people attempted to divide these people. But I'll concede one point because I'm being intellectually honest. There are idiots amongst us that will enforce the border of the white man, even though they speak the same language, even though their kings are the same. They will still enforce the border of the white man. The issue is
Right.
that the histories of our people in Africa is complex. It's not as simple as we don't know where we come from. We know exactly where we come from. Our witchcraft.
Not really, though. Not really, because again, a lot of those tribes they've been remixed, they've been spread around. Different invasions push different groups to certain parts. People have been moving nomadically all across Africa for centuries. All right. So there's not this long continuity of a lot of people, unfortunately. In some parts, yes, but a lot of parts, no. And especially with colonization, and they've been remixed over and over. The game has been changed. We have more of a continuity than a lot of folks over there in the motherland. We do. And we've had an ethnogenesis. We became a new ethnic group. And we have a certain spirit that other people don't have. That spirit of Majara is not a joke. All right, let's get Malone in here. All right, Malone and Hunter, you ready to get back on, man? Let's get Malone and then we'll get Hunter. Well, no, Malone bounce. Okay, let's get Hunter. Hunter, you wait. Okay, because Hunter was up here trying to explain, and it was taking him a minute to get to the point. Um, all right, Malone.
Tariq, I hear you speak about a continuation, particularly amongst Black Americans.
Yeah,
What continuation are you referring to precisely?
I'm talking about our cultural history continuation. We've been on this land for centuries, and we still have the music culture, our medicinal culture, our religious culture. We have cultural continuity that's been remained the same for centuries on this land. That's what I mean.
Noted. So, would you then agree that you do not originate from the Americas?
Um, no, we originated from the United States because there was no United States until we built it. There were, and I've explained this ad nauseum. What makes the foundational Black American is the combination of people brought over from Africa, Black people who were explorers coming to the Americas, and the Black Aboriginals who were here. We all got put together and became foundational Black American.
Okay. So, I hear now we're speaking about the naming of particular countries, right? We can agree that America's name, if we were to throw it out the window, we would still say that you do not originate from that land. Or am I wrong?
You're wrong. Where do you
Okay.
think the name? Okay, okay, and that's a common mistake. With all due respect, where do you think the name America comes from? Americo Vespucci,
100%.
right? Here's the thing. Let's unpack the Americo Vespucci story. Amerigo was not royalty. He was supposed to be an explorer. Wasn't royalty. When they name things after somebody who's royal, they name their first name, like Charlotte, North Carolina, is named after Queen Charlotte. Jamestown, Virginia, was named after King James. He was royalty. They name him their first name. Why would they name a whole continent, or two continents, Amerigo, after a dude who wasn't even royalty? They would usually name an explorer. They're given their last name, like Columbus. A lot of stuff is Columbus at his last name. It's not Christopher. And this goes to show America Vespucci. America wasn't named after him. America wasn't even his name. This dude's name was Alberico. Albert. His name was Albert. The name America comes from the word Amerisque. That was a tribe over down in the Nicaragua area, the Amerisque Mountains, a tribe of black folks. Go look at the movie American Maroon. We break that down there. So the name America, Amerisque, America, that name has kind of been around indigenously for a minute. Words with the AM, America, Amaru. There was a warrior, a Native American warrior named Tupac Amaru. That's who Tupac Shakur was named after. So America, Amaru, Amerisque, that phonetic sound has been on this land for a long time. So this is why we have to understand history and not take what's being what's whitewashing the history.
Okay, I can take that. Now, the point I'm trying, or rather, the question I'm trying to ask you is, as much as I agree with what you're saying in your sentiments, Africa is not the original name for Africa, right?
I know,
N-
I know.
Now, what I'm asking you, particularly with the Americas, if we're to throw away the naming convention of that particular land, now, are you of that land?
Okay, you confuse me a little bit. Now, what do you mean? If they throw away the name of our, then
So
yeah,
let me
if
use,
if it
yeah.
was named something else, I would still my lineage would still be that. Yeah, it's still the lineage
Uh,
here.
so I'm not asking about the association to the name. I'm speaking to the land itself. So if we were to throw away the name, the naming convention of places, and we were to say, cool, there's this place called Wakaduku,
Okay.
where you stay in currently. Do you Are you of the view that you are originally of Wakaduku land, or were you somehow, or did you somewhat migrate to Wakaduku land?
Well, the thing is, if Wakaduku land, if they moved people around and brought in new people and sectioned it off, because usually with colonization there comes borders. They have to border something up and change the landscape and redraw the borders. So, well, I give an example. Like, there were black Aboriginal people all up and down North and South America. We walked around North and South America. Now, am I South American? No. I look at myself as a foundation Black American from the United States because of the land borders. And my family has been under this land border for centuries. And we've been rooted in this land border because we actually built the nation from scratch. See, that's the thing about us. We actually built this nation. There was no nation until foundational Black Americans built it from scratch. So that's what makes us more unique than other groups. Other groups over in Africa, they just kind of came in and just set up borders and just took over. So it's a little different dynamic.
So would you then say, based off your analogy, right, that you as a Black American would fall part and parcel of the other Aborigine or native um, Black Americans from, well, what did you say, the South of the Americas?
Yeah.
So
So
you draw from the same bloodline as those people. Is that what you're telling me?
most likely, yeah, we come from the same lineage because there were Black Aboriginals all up and down the Americas.
So
So
here's a question: most likely or most certainly?
I don't know more certainly. I don't know more, but most likely
So you
because
see, so this is
many things are relative.
so this is where the contention comes in. When you say most likely, then a question would supposed to well, a question would arise to say, if it's most likely, what's highly likely then?
Because we're talking about possibly thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? Black people have been on this land for thousands of years. So again, I, without me having a DNA test and all of that, I can talk about for certainty what can be traced with my family's paperwork. I can, for certain, my family goes back. I can trace to the mid 1700s. That's a fact. I can
I
trace
can take
my
that. I can
right,
take that.
right. That's
And
a
I think
fact.
this then goes back to that African notion that for some reason, and I must thank a brother here called Mikhail. I think he's a fellow American.
Yes, sir, that's
Um,
my good brother. Yes.
yes, he was able to speak about the lingua franca that happened within the 17th century, which your family can trace back to those dates. But particularly when we look into the landscape of Africa, the lingua franca was a way, obviously, to try to find a common language for people within particular sections of Africa. Now, I asked this fellow brother, and he is yet to answer me on this question, and hopefully, maybe you might be able to answer me. I asked this brother that, considering the fact that lingua franca only occurred in the 17th century, right? That means there must have been uh, what do you call these tribes with other varying languages that didn't understand each other but had to find some form of commonality due to colonization. Would you agree to my position?
That again, I can't speak on that because I don't know the history of it. But this is the question that a lot of foundational Black Americans would like to know from an African brother. Why is
Sure.
it so important for our brothers and sisters from Africa to make foundational Black Americans African when it's convenient. They don't do that with people in the Caribbean. You don't do that with black people in South America. You don't do that with the Brazilians. Why is there such a desire? You don't do that with the Fiji. They're black from Africa. They talk about their African origin. Y'all, why only foundational black Americans? There's this thing with y'all gotta make us own up to Africa. It's all about us doing it. Y'all don't do that to nobody else.
Sure.
Why us in particular?
Now I can answer you that one very clearly. So I think with that one there is the fact that the people that we often neglect or ignore is because they can detail a thorough history of how they originated to where they are currently. Whereas when it comes to FBA, whenever we have to ask this question of the origination of the peoples, it then becomes a question of I can search up until a certain point, but then we ask, okay, if you can search up until a certain point, what happened to those who came before you? Because I think we can agree that nobody can make a claim that and maybe I stand to be corrected here. Nobody can make a claim that the FBA community has existed over at least I'd say 3 million years ago within the Americas particularly. Am I wrong in that statement?
Well, America as a nation state didn't exist. The North American continent existed, but
Let's
America,
refer let's refer to the continent rather as opposed to the
right.
country.
Right now, there were black people here, but they spoke different languages. It was a whole different thing millions of years ago. But in Africa, Africa wasn't even called Africa millions of years ago.
But you know what the difference is the fact that we still retain some of the traditions and languages from over 1 million years ago, which for some reason, and
No,
this
you
is my
don't.
question to
That's
you.
that's not. That's
Here's my
not.
question to you. Here's my
Y'all,
question to you.
no, they don't. Not in Africa. No, you don't.
No, but hear
Y'all,
me out. I'm an African. I'm speaking from my lived experience. So if you're
and I,
gonna try to let me ask you the question.
what?
So if
No,
I
let's slow down. Let's slow down. Let's slow down. Now, what part of
okay,
Africa are you
I'm from the southern tip of Africa, which is South Africa in this instance.
from? Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, y'all don't speak no old ancient languages. Y'all do not.
Okay. So if I told you that I speak what they would call today a Zulu, do you understand that? Do you understand that Zulu crosses more than just South Africa and stretches itself within the Western African countries as well?
Yes. Yes.
So, so if you understand that, and you understand that Zulu is not a lingua franca, then how do you explain its historical date?
And what's the historical date on the Zulu language?
So now this is where we start speaking into this version of the so-called Bantu, considering that Bantu is a common name for peoples. That's what it essentially means. And Bantu is understood by every single African as people. And again, this is where, again, when we delineate the language itself, we find that we speak a language that goes far beyond the lingua franca because we acknowledge lingua franca, but we're still able to speak native tongues that use, or not you particularly, Tariq, I think a
Right.
lot of other Americans would call them clicks and pops.
Right. There's a lot of clicks and
Where
pops.
do you think these clicks and pops emanate from? They emanate from, unfortunately, colonizers did this, and this is where they water down the history. They tell you about the San people, the San and the Khoi people.
Right.
Now, the mistake they make, especially in the historical artifacts, is that the way they were distinguishing between myself and a Khoi person was whether I'm light skinned or not. Now, I can tell you for a fact that my lineage itself, and considering the fact we use totems as a way to delineate ourselves within our communities, right? I am of Khoi origin, quote unquote Khoi. So now I ask again, considering the fact that I am of Khoi origin, I still speak that language. Why is it now it becomes no, we don't speak the historical language of our ancestors to America, to FBAs particularly?
Now, my brother Mikal just hit me up. He said the Zulu language didn't start until the 14th century.
That's what me. I can go with Mikal's point, but not forgetting the fact that there's other aspects of the language, like Setswana, which is almost similar to Zulu, but it has its own unique dictation there. Now I ask again, this is another way of varying the various traditions and cultures that existed way before the 17th century and dating back to the Stone Age around Khoi and San. And as I said, if you listen carefully to Zulu, as much as Mikel can claim that this has been delineated since the 14th century, we must not forget that this is what white what do they call them, missionaries wrote, because they only got to understand Zulu within the 14th century.
Oh, so that's when they understood it.
Since, well, they
Yeah.
wrote about it,
Because that Zulu wasn't even a written language. They didn't. If it's been around so long, ain't nobody never written none of it down. It wasn't even written.
but we're not. But as you know, Tariq, our history shows that we didn't write on pieces of paper. We actually inscribed on walls, and we showed in terms of illustrations. Much like if you look into, I think if you go deeper into the Western countries, particularly around the Egypt area, we use symbols, not words. And when you come back to South Africa, if you go into where they found the first humankind, who's supposedly English is running away now, a delineation, fuck it, who's supposedly part of the bloodline of the Khoi and San. There again, you will find illustrations of my people. Now I ask again, when Mikel speaks about the origination of the Zulu language by missionaries, does that now negate from the fact that there was a language that we spoke that wasn't given the name Zulu?
Well, that I don't know the semantics of it. The
Sure.
problem,
None, I
the,
can
the
take that.
problem with all of that is what they did was sat here down in South Africa when the Dutch and the British and all those people came in. They said all of you are going to be subjugated, and you're the majority, and we're going to keep these little tribal beefs going on while we're still running the show, and that's still a problem over there now. So all of the different languages that the people speak over there who are native to the land, they're still subjugated by that small white minority, and that's the problem.
So I think that's an interesting statement that you make, and I think one thing that I must highlight is that the natives of this land actually fought long and hard to try to attain and maintain this world, right? And what I mean by that is there was this Kukune War. This is something you can Google if you're wondering the spelling. It's Sekhukune. That's the initial native wars fighting Dutch and British settlers. And then following that, there were a couple. There was the Orange Free State War, there was the Natal War, and these are purely native wars that were happening in the 18th century, fighting these particular settlers. Now, what had happened was, again, when we come into now this, I'd say, 21st century, we can say that we got duped because why? Outside of the, I think it was about at least 14, if not more than 14 wars happening with the natives fighting the British, which, by the way, they defeated many times. Only after the American, what's this? Only after the British and the Dutch settlers decided to actually come together to fight against us, the natives. That's when now we started seeing the shift that occurred in this country of ours. Now again, I'm just trying to showcase the fact that there is still that relative history that predates the lingua franca notion that by some reason often gets left out by a lot of FBAs when they speak to us as Africans, forgetting that as us as Africans are still fighting the age-old war of colonialism. Now,
Right.
why is it FBA are quick to then disagree that we speak the native tongue, even though in their own acknowledgement, they understand that clicks and pops come from the original people.
But a lot of the clicks and pops and a lot of those languages, again, like Brother McCall said, those things were introduced right during colonization. When the colonization started popping off in the 14th century, then we started seeing these new languages over there in East Africa. We started to see, oh, I don't know. Hold on. I'm
Well,
hearing some.
while you're doing that,
Okay. Yeah, let me, because yeah, your phone was being a little janky. I had to get them off. But yeah, we started to see these new languages pop up based on outside influences like Swahili. That was the Arabs coming in there introducing certain loan words to help create the language of Swahili. The bottom line is that the brothers and sisters over there are the majority and getting whooped down on a very small minority. That's the problem. Let's get Brooke in here. Brooke,
Hello. Hi.
hey
You know,
sis,
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What's
Okay, I take notes.
yes,
When one thing I don't understand, and this is as a New Yorker, as a FBA New Yorker who has grown up completely surrounded and immersed in Caribbean culture. Um, I don't understand when you ask that question, how come that the Caribbean is not Africanized like we are? Let's
right.
just say for one moment that we are not natives to this land. Let's just say we're not. The Caribbeans are not native to their land. And again, but they are allowed to be Trini,
Right.
Guyanese. They are allowed to be Grenadians. They are allowed to be Jamaicans. They are allowed to be Vincentians. They are allowed to be from the island of Dominica. They are allowed to be nationals of their country, even if they were brought there in chains.
Right.
What is the difference? We have all, like I said, even if we're not natives, we have all been on our lands for the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that different? And
Exactly.
as an FBA, they have Labor Day here every year. And every year I am draped in red, white, and blue. Miss America is walking down Eastern Parkway proud. I have
Yeah.
always worn my flag from the beginning of when I could be on Labor Day. Or when I could be on the parkway, I was out there with my red, white, and blue. That is my thing every year, to find a red, white, and blue outfit
Mm-hmm.
so I
Yeah.
could represent. And then another thing, we are, now let's get back to the truth. We are natives to this land. Dr. Clyde Winters talks
Mm-hmm.
about, he studies lingua franca, okay? And he talks about how through the lingua franca, he has found out that we have been on this land for 50,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Clyde Anderson also says the same thing.
Yep.
So when they sit here and talk about how, we're new here, it doesn't make any sense. And once again, why is it that we are not allowed to be from our country when every other Caribbean nation can wave their flag? Even the African nations with the new African countries that the white people named, like Nigeria, why are they allowed to claim their Nigerian heritage when that country didn't even exist?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa,
Exactly.
whoa, 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 whoa,
If
whoa,
anybody
whoa,
don't know
whoa,
this,
whoa.
all right, let me get Hunter, Brooke. Let me get
All
him.
right, go ahead, no problem.
Beloved. Hunter, what's up, Hunter?
Yo, so let me break this down real quick.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Let's get
Pertaining to exactly what you were saying and the African sects that had their lineage before the triangle route, right? Which
okay.
is this. Every single person that is not a Native American every single person.
Finish your thought, Hunter.
In that exact definition, isn't infiltrated to this land.
Is who to the land?
Say again.
Okay, well, Hunter, you got to put the bottle down. Now, everybody who's not Native American is what?
Every single person that is not a Native American is an infiltrator to this land by definition.
Okay, so how did black people infiltrate this land?
They never did.
Right. And how do you define what a Native American is? Because a lot of people who claim to have Native American ancestry are really Europeans faking the funk.
Incorrect. And I can explain.
Okay, let's hear this.
So, it's fairly clear, and I apologize to everyone how I articulate.
You're gonna have to get to the point, brother. We really don't have all night for you to kind of flesh it out. Now, if you need to go to sleep, but we're not gonna wait all night for you to kind of get whatever little thought out.
Yes, but what I'm saying is fact.
You just okay. All right, man. You take
So,
it. Okay,
yeah.
you gotta put the bottle down because family, I'm not gonna do that to y'all because he's taking forever just to make whatever point. He's not even making a point. I'm not about to have drunk hillbilly rambling, so we're not gonna have that. You're not just gonna ramble now. All right, good lord, you got to get to the point. All right, and just get you up out of here. All right, let's get Baby Moore. Let's get Baby Moore in here, then we'll get Daryl in here. Real quick. Baby Moore, then Daryl.
And what's up, Tariq?
What's up, Baby Moore? How are you, brother?
Pretty good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I was gonna say, the reason that they want to push Africa on us so much is pretty much a nefarious reason. They really just look at it as opportunism. That's why the other guy was like, "Yeah, y'all learn from Africans, giving it to the Germans and giving it to Hitler." And it's like, wait a minute, that was us.
I know. What the hell was he talking about? What the hell?
And then
What
other,
the
and
hell
when you
about? Well,
and when
that's
you
the
at
spirit. That's the Jesse Owens had the spirit of Africa. I'm like, nigga, what?
and that's the opportunism I'm talking about. They use our identity to like gain things, and they even turn
Right.
around and use it against us. So, and the last guy you asked him, he was like, he went rambling talking about clicks and pops. It's like, hold on now, that's cool and all, but when y'all gonna get shit clicking and popping? Because ain't shit clicking and popping over there. What that got to do with something that's actually gonna like happen? Like, what good is it for us to, admit Africancy? Again, it's like the big switcheroony. They want us to claim Africa so they could just flee from it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So yeah, good looking out, man. Thank you so much. Let me get Daryl in here. Daryl or Darrell.
Hey, how you doing, Tariq? I've been listening to you for a while. I just wanted to come behind real quick and say what's up to everybody, and just to add on to what the others had been saying about. I'm sorry, my thoughts a little off. It's late here too. I know you're about to wrap it up, but just to
Go
add
ahead.
on, I just to add on uh, to what some of these per capitas are always saying about the high IQ.
Yeah.
Listening to what the Brooke the sister was saying, her and the other ones. I always notice when we come on, we're precise to the point. We're not trolling you, and you're always kind, brother. And I
Yeah.
notice when they come on, it's all over the place. They don't have a lot to say, unkind, and I land there. But I just wanted to say that. I just want to say that, and I enjoy you, brother. And I just want to say, bro, you remind me a lot of being back in high school. Sometime when you get to roasting them, it remind me of
Oh yeah,
being at that lunch table, brother. But I land there, bro. Take it easy.
thank you. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, this whole thing, it's all about us. For some reason, we have to be removed. It's us. Foundational Black Americans, we have to strip ourselves of our lineage here to satisfy other people. We have to claim Africa and claim an African identity because I claim the lineage. I come, I got an African lineage. But as far as the identity, no, I identify as a foundational Black American, which is what I am. My family's been here for centuries. We had an ethnogenesis. We became a whole different ethnic group with a whole different spirit, a vibe, a way of doing things, a whole different culture that's very unique to us. And not only is it unique to us, it has influenced the world. And my man, Baby Moore, just made a very good point. A lot of people want us to latch on to Africa, so really Africa can latch on to us. That's what it's really about. Because if we sit here and prop up Africa, everything we do, they can get credit for it. You see? Going back to the Jesse Owens thing, when he was talking about, yeah, Africans in Germany, like, nigga, that was us. That was us doing that. What are you talking about? But it was the spirit of Africa. What? What? And we're not trying to denigrate Africa. We're really not. But we got to be real. A lot of it, this whole thing, people have been trying to leech off of us. And the fact that they've had to leech off of us, that has created contempt with them because we prop up Africa. And foundational Black Americans are the most influential Black people on the planet. And then you have people from Africa, like, I'm the real African. These are fake niggas. They are katas. They're not real Africans. Y'all say that shit behind closed doors. Let's keep it a buck. Behind closed doors, y'all talk about how we ain't really African. Keep it a damn buck. That's what a kata means. That we ain't really one of them. So don't try to play the 3 card Monty when you hop in these rooms talking about how come we ain't claiming. Y'all disowned us many times over. Let's keep it a buck. Only time you want to claim us is when you want to get something. You're like that crackhead father. The father around here having babies smoking crack, and one of the babies becomes successful. Then the father come around here. Now I'm still your daddy. Now you let your daddy hold something. No, pop. No. Yeah. You abandon the kid, and now when the kid is successful and the kid is influential, now you want to come around with a jersey on. You abandon the kid becomes a superstar NBA player. Now you come around here with a Laker jersey. Whoo, I always knew it. I always knew it. I knew it was gonna be you. No, you chose crack. Africa, you chose trinkets. For some of us who were from that lineage, who got sold off, you chose nigga trinkets. You chose beads and glass. All right. You chose the crack of the day, which was beads and glass. All right. And left us for dead. You're not going to circle back around like, hey, how come you don't claim me? We became a whole different group. Now that you down bad and the little janky deals y'all made didn't work out in the long run. See? Foundational Black Americans, when you say chosen people, boy, we are chosen. We're chosen by the Spirit of the Most High with the Mojara energy. We're chosen with that Mojara energy, and the world chooses us. That's why everybody's focused on us all the time. Everybody focused on foundational Black Americans, all eyes on us. Whenever there's a conflict, where the FBA is standing on it. Whenever there's a beef, where are the FBAs? Whenever there's a cultural shift, what are the FBAs doing? What are the FBAs wearing? How are the FBAs dancing? What are they eating? All eyes on us. All right, let me get a couple of more people. I've been in here for a long time. Let's get Shiesty in here. I remember that name. Aren't you a troll, Shiesty? I remember that name. Yo, Shiesty, hop in. All right, Shiesty, turn your microphone on.
Yo, Tariq, how
What's
you
up,
doing,
Shiesty?
brother?
I'm
I'm good,
good,
I'm
Shiesty.
good. Yeah, look, I just want to find out what do you mean America props up other cultures in Africa? What I didn't hear that. I'm paraphrasing. What do you mean you prop us up?
Well, we prop up what African greatness is supposed to be because everything we do, somehow the credit goes back to Africa. So we've been propping up any type of African greatness. It's been over here on our side for the last 500 years. Do you agree or disagree with what I just said?
Yeah, nah, I disagree because I need you
Okay.
to give me an example. Just give me a couple of examples.
Okay. When
Two.
we do, well, when we do something like show our talent. Oh well, I use the example of what the guy said earlier when Jesse Owens was running in the Olympics. The dude tried to give credit to Africa. He was like, "Yeah, this is the African spirit of Jesse." Yeah, Jesse Owens was the foundation of Black American. So that's what I'm saying. Things like that.
My brother, I hear what you're saying, but you're still not making sense. Whether an individual chooses to give allegiance or his praise to the continent of his ancestors is up to them. You're still not telling me how I'll say Black Americans, since you guys don't view yourself as African Americans. My question is, how are you propping up Africans against not what the other individual did? How is American Black culture propping up the rest of Africa? I just want to remind you,
I
you're
just made it,
it's
but you
Black people.
I think it went in one ear and out the other. You're not really
All right,
comprehending.
let me
I
explain to you. Black people are not monolithic. That's one thing
right,
we can understand, right?
right,
So when you say you prop up the continent, how are you propping up people who might not even identify with Black Americans or what you're doing over on that side?
right. Because, like I said, anytime we do something, credit is somehow given to Africa. Like with our music, even with our rap music, historians try to give props to some African tribe. Well, the rap came from the linguistic African tribes. It was a tribe 1,000 years ago. So they do that. Historically, they've done that. You've seen that, right?
Okay, I'm just gonna say I have. I just for the purpose of this conversation. I don't want it
Right,
to derail into. I'll say I have, but
right,
I just want to see where you're going with that point.
right. So yeah, everything we do, um, we've kind of shared credit with African and Black people and Caribbeans in the diaspora. We've kind of shared our thing as one big Black unit. And we've learned something that was very interesting. Y'all don't do that shit with us. When we do something, we say, okay, yeah, Black people globally, we can all celebrate it. That's we did that with hip hop. We let the Caribbean take credit for it for a long time, which they didn't do anything to create hip hop. But we just kind of said, okay, we all Black, so it don't matter. And we had to stop doing that because y'all don't do that. When you do something as an African person or an African group, when you guys do something, y'all have to make sure that it comes from that particular African nation. It ain't just all of us Blacks did something collectively great. This was Ghana who did this. So if somebody gets a PhD and they're from Nigeria, Nigeria did this. This was a Nigerian American. He's not a Black American, he's a Nigerian American. So whenever you guys accomplish anything, you put it up on the African board. We would do something and just put it up on the black board. Like, hey, black people, we can all celebrate this win. That's what I say when I say we've propped up Africa, because Africa has been floating on black wins. But we haven't floated on no African achievements at all, because you guys don't let us get credit for it. Right?
Um, okay, I won't agree on that one. I think I can kind of see where your argument is going. And again, I can't agree with that one. There's never
No, why
been
not?
anybody.
Is it
Oh,
incorrect?
oh no, no, no. Yeah, it's very incorrect. First of all, when you say that we chop it up to the African continent, do you perhaps know why that is? When we perhaps on the African continent, we look abroad across the pond, across the waters, and we see people with melanated skin achieving things. Do you know why? Do you know why we would chop that down to Africa?
Okay, so you do agree with what I said, but now you're giving a reason why. But you just
No,
admitted
no, no,
that.
no. Remember my context. My context was if I'm going to agree with you in the spirit of arguing in anything. But we're still going back to your point. Me touching on your point is not me falling back on my point. It's me trying to unpack your point so we can
Okay,
elaborate and fully expose it.
but there
It's
has
not
to be
me.
but if you're going to elaborate on it, there has to be a truth to it. You can't
Yes,
elaborate on a
and
lot,
we're
because
trying to find that
because
truth.
if I said something that was incorrect, you would have to debunk it. If you're going to elaborate on why I said something and why it's a fact, that means you're acknowledging the truth in it. So let's go there with it.
That's 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 a fundamentally flawed view of it, but I think
Then
we'll
you
still
should
go with that. So let's
then
say,
why
okay, I'm going to
why
agree with you. I'm
debunk
going to agree with you,
it? Okay,
Tariq.
okay, then
Let,
you either agree or debunk it.
all
Because
right,
if you say
cool.
you were to say something that was incorrect, I wouldn't even elaborate. I would just debunk it and just bring truth to power. You see?
Right. Okay, so let me just debunk it and bring truth to power.
Okay, let's.
When you're talking about that, when people look at you, is because they see somebody who has, and you are going to argue with this, as most FBAs do, is you argue with the fact that you are actually descendants of this continent. Yes, your blood might be mixed with others purely because of the slave trade, but you guys have convinced yourself that you were already in America prior to this transatlantic slave trade.
Let's slow
Um,
down. Let's slow down. Is that true or not true?
Fundamentally false.
Okay.
Fundamentally false.
So
The only
there were no black people in the Americas before the slave trade?
Are we talking about black people like me and you?
Yeah.
No, 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 no. The only people who preach that type of history is FBAs. And mind you,
Okay.
FBAs,
Slow down.
foundational
Slow
FBAs,
down.
FBAs, let
Slow
me tell
down.
you,
White people have said this. White historians and archaeologists. They've said there
yeah, look, I'm
were them.
very big on source material. So when you say make statements like that, I like links and I like supported links,
Oh,
peer review, all of those things, not
peer review.
not
No, no,
because,
no,
and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you
no.
why. I'll tell you why.
Talking. Stop talking. Stop talking. Because a lot of y'all say something and then get to babbling so nobody can bring some proof. You just said there were no black people in the Americas before slavery. That is a lie. What you just said is a lie, and we can prove this thing over and over. Too many explorers come over here and said exactly what they saw. Way too many explorers came over here and saw black people here. Many explorers had to come bring black translators with them to communicate with the black people here. Even white archaeologists and historians have said that there were black people here. Look up a white man in the 1800s, Constantine Rafinesque. He's very controversial because he said there were black, wild Aboriginal tribes running all around America. He said this in the mid 1800s. Another white man, Leo Werner, talked about all of the black tribes that were here for thousands of years. Von Woutenau, another white man, German white man, went down into Mexico, South America, found all types of black artifacts, thousands of years, saying 100% there were Negroid black people on this land thousands of years. Scientists down in South America, the oldest woman, Luzia woman, they did a reconstruction of this woman's DNA and skeletal remains. It's a black lady. The evidence cannot be more pronounced. The evidence is just there scientifically, linguistically, historically. When they dig up bones and do DNA tests on bones over there in some of the quote unquote Indian graveyards in Virginia that were thousands of years old, they dug up bones and saw that they had sub-Saharan African DNA in the damn quote unquote Indian bones. You understand? The evidence is all over the place, sir. All right, now I'm going to unmute you. Now, I gave you a bunch of sources to look up and verify. These were the white ones. Now, I can go to the black ones. That's too easy. The Van Sertimans, the Renoko Rashidis, the Jan Carus, who broke all of this stuff down too. John Henry Clark, they broke all this stuff down too. So to say that there were not black people here on this land, that's emphatically incorrect because black people left Africa and went all over the world. Black people are in the tiniest, most remote islands on this planet. You think they didn't reach here? Talk to me, brother.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to repeat and I'm going to stand there and I'm going to say it with my chest. There were no black people from the motherland
Didn't
that
say
look
that.
like me.
That's a
But I
lie.
literally said that. I said that. I said people from the motherland that look
From
like
the
me and you.
motherland. No, from the motherland,
But,
because that's another trick bag. No. Y'all try to get out. Y'all try to weasel out of it with that. Y'all try to weasel
Tariq,
out of it.
are you
No,
going to
no,
let
no,
me speak though?
no. Y'all try to weasel out. No, there were
I'm going to
black
meet up.
people.
I'm going to meet up.
Okay, there were black people here. Now, if they came from the motherland or whatever, because you can say the Australians, they didn't come from the motherland, but everybody came from Africa at one point. All right.
Are you asking me a question or are you making a statement?
I'm asking you a question. Didn't everybody come from Africa at one point?
Yeah, but you have to remember the continents weren't as drift as they were.
Okay.
What were continental? What was the name of the continent before continental drift? Are you talking about that period? If you want to go back that
But
far,
even when there was a continental drift, and that happened millions of years ago, there are people that's going back a few thousand years that expanded around the world. If you go to, I was just in Fiji. The people in Fiji look like an African tribe. Why?
because race is by and large mainly something about color. If you were to take color away, I think we'd all look like each other. It's a human aspect. If I
Right.
go to Fiji, I'm not going to see somebody with two noses because they're from Fiji. No, I'm going to see somebody with one nose, two eyes, two ears, and a mouth. Am I
And
right?
the people
So
and
when you speaking to that, when you
the
speak to that aspect about how people,
slow down, because I don't want to hear babbling. Now you babbling. The people in Fiji, and I was just in Fiji, black skin and afros, wide noses and big lips. Beautiful people, beautiful spirit. And they have an origin story. They told us thousands of years ago their people came from East Africa. They know they have an origin story. They tell you this. So they came from Africa thousands of years ago that they admit to. You think if they can reach Fiji, they couldn't reach North America? That what you?
the unfortunate part about this conversation is one person holds the power to the mute button.
Yeah.
And
See, what we're going to do is answer questions. We're not going to let you ramble and deflect because I ask very direct questions, and then you get into, well, you have to understand the mitochondrial DNA, and if I ate a sandwich and I dipped it in jollof, is that going to make the continents drift in? We don't do that, brother. We keep it real plain, real simple. We like to get to the point, sir. Do you think
All right,
that?
my nigga.
Oh,
Let's get the conversation going, my nigga.
okay,
Yeah, yeah. So,
and
woo!
that's a
Yeah,
horrible.
you see, that's exactly what you Jason adjacted the conversation to.
That's a horrible FBA accent, by the way.
That's
But
a horrible African accent. I've never even heard that, not even from Nigerians.
okay,
So what's tit for tat right now? That's
okay,
exactly what we're doing, because
okay.
you're not letting me answer questions and you keep muting me, and then you bring something else and then you make it seem like I'm avoiding questions when you mute me.
But you're babbling. Let me hold on. You're babbling. Let me get Mikhail in here. Let me get my brother Mikhail in here. Okay, let me let Mikhail speak. Brother Mikhail, let me get Mikhail. Brother, what's happening, sir? Brother Mikhail. Turn your microphone on, Brother Mikhail. Uh-oh. I think we lost Mikhail.
No, you muted us.
No, no, no.
What up,
Nobody.
Pimp Named Slick back?
Good.
I'm here.
There you
I'm here. Great Minister of Code. How art
I'm
thou?
good, brother. How are you?
Are we entertained yet?
Yeah. Man.
See, here's the problem, there, brother. People like this gentleman who is speaking has a natural default that when you say one thing, they hear something completely different in their mind.
Mm,
And that's primarily due to the fact that we have different processors. We have an original black mind that existed millions of years ago. The colonizers have literally clean slated, like wiped out their memory of 4 million years of history and told them that they were apes. So it's very difficult for them to process what you're saying because they don't have the bandwidth. You understand? Their institutions are westernized. It's not that they're bad people, it's that they're programmed to think of themselves as being lesser than the mutants who colonized them.
mm,
This is the problem. You
yeah.
understand? So, as I indicated, they're not bad people. It's just that the best form of colonization is when you don't know you're colonized. I'll land with that. Love you,
Yeah.
brother. By the way, great suit.
Uh,
Looking looking
yeah, my
awesome.
man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, brother. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. Shiesty, I'll let you have the last word, Shiesty, because go ahead, Shiesty.
Tariq, I'm so glad you brought Mikal on. He was in another FBA space, and he jumped off the platform before I could even finish. There he goes again. Never mind. Oh no, Tariq, I don't even know what I'm responding to anymore. I'm just gonna say a conversation is meant for pushback, and if you step on that pushback, then it's not a conversation or a dialogue. I can't answer any of your stuff because you've jumped from point to point about from Aborigines to New Zealand to when we were speaking specifically about Africans. Unfortunately, I think that's the nature of these debates, is that you stick and move, you point and deflect.
No, I just like.
You never actually get to having a intellectual conversation.
No, no, I do, sir. But what we don't want is babbling, because I'll say something and then you say, "Oh, that's not true," and then you try to change the
But
subject.
you're babbling.
No,
You're
no,
babbling.
no, no. We're going to have to tell the truth. Now, if you say something's wrong, you're going to have to prove it's wrong. After I prove it right, you can't just keep deflecting and babbling, sir. That's what I'm saying.
That's why again, you're just proving my point once again, because you go on tangents, and before I get in a complete sentence, it's considered babble.
Yeah,
I could repeat your sentence.
because you're not doing. Yeah, we got to have order, see, and we just can't let people babble and just say shit and just ramble on and on without making a point. because that's a waste of time. And the audience, they don't really want to hear that. My thing is to not just let people call up and just get frustration off their chest by rambling nonsensically, because you're not making any sense. And when you say something that's emphatically false, that has to be corrected and stopped. I'm not going to let you babble. You're not going to just say, tell a lie, and then go to another lie, and then go to another lie, and then go to another lie. No, we're going to have to unpack each lie. That's what we do. You tell a lie, let's slow down and unpack that. And we're going to slow down and unpack the other one. All right. But anyway, Shiesty, thank you so much.
One last question.
No, Shiesty, no last questions. You said what you had to say. All right. If you sit up here talking about there were no black people on this land before slavery, that's emphatically false. That's false as hell. And it can be proven false. There's too many sources and references to prove that false. There were black people here for thousands of years. There were black people here. And we became a part of that and the African DNA bloodline, and we became a whole new ethnic group, which are foundational black Americans. Yeah? That's what it is. And we are in here, damn near 1,000 people in here in the middle of the night. Listen, family, first, I hope you guys got your Rootwork deodorant at rootworkstyle.com. Rootworkstyle.com. Get your Rootwork deodorant. And go to hiddenhistorymuseum.com to get the Hidden Heroes from A to Z children's book. Very good book for the kids, very good book for young adults. Also, we're going to have an event at the Hidden History Museum Saturday, April 13th. You guys need to come on out. The tickets will go on sale for that. We have our comedy joint, complimentary food, drinks. We have a ball at the Hidden History Museum, one of the most popping spots out here in LA. Y'all need to come on through. Also, tickets for the movie Microphone Check in select theaters. Those are going to go on sale next week. We're still locking down some of the city dates. We got LA confirmed. What else is Dallas is confirmed. New York is confirmed. We're going to confirm DC and some other cities this week, and I keep everybody posted. But anyway, guys, you guys have a great evening. Papi Akute and Lola Vuve to the family. Peace.
From the culture of the American South, where roots hold stories, comes a natural deodorant inspired by generations of wisdom. Introducing Rootwork, the all-natural foundational Black American-based deodorant infused with the magic of High John the Conqueror root. Our unique blend enriched with this legendary root offers 24-hour protection, rooted in the power of nature. Embrace this deodorant that celebrates culture, history, and your well-being. Unlock the magic of Rootwork today. Experience the pure essence of nature. Visit rootworkstyle.com and make the switch to a healthier cultural choice.